Yuta adjusted his silk scarf, the crisp autumn air biting at his skin. He wasn't accustomed to this part of Kyoto. His world was one of polished marble and sprawling estates. Yet, here he stood, drawn by an inexplicable pull towards a quaint bookstore nestled on a quiet street. Its name, Whispering Pages, was painted in elegant calligraphy on a weathered wooden sign. He entered, the scent of old paper and ink enveloping him like a warm embrace. A young woman stood behind the counter, her head bent over a worn copy of The Tale of Genji. She had eyes that held the wisdom of ages yet sparkled with a youthful curiosity. Her name was Shuns. Their eyes met. Time seemed to stand still. Yuta, usually so smooth and confident, fumbled with his words. He asked about the book, his voice a nervous tremor. Shuns smiled, a radiant warmth spreading across her face. She spoke of the story's enduring love, her voice soft like the rustle of turning pages. Yuta found himself drawn to Shun's quiet intensity, her passion for stories mirroring his own yearning for something more. He returned to Whispering Pages day after day, each visit a stolen moment of joy in his meticulously planned life. As the weeks melted into months, a bond blossomed between Yuta and Shuns. He would spend hours in her bookstore listening to her talk about her favorite authors and characters. They shared a love for stories that transported them to faraway lands and allowed them to live 1,000 lives. Yuta would bring her rare first editions, his gifts a testament to their shared passion. She, in turn, would introduce him to the works of local poets and writers, their simple yet profound words echoing the yearnings of their own hearts. They would often sneak away to the nearby philosopher's path, strolling hand in hand under the canopy of cherry blossoms. They confided in each other, their dreams and fears whispered like secrets on the wind. Yuta, bound by his family's expectations to inherit their vast business empire, yearned for a life filled with passion and purpose. Shuns, raised in humble surroundings, dreamed of opening a publishing house that would champion the voices of the unheard. Their love story was a tapestry woven from shared dreams and stolen moments, a secret world they built within the ancient heart of Kyoto. Unbeknownst to Shuns, a storm was brewing in Yuta's world. His parents, prominent figures in Kyoto's elite circle, had arranged his marriage to Hana, the daughter of a powerful business tycoon. It was a union meant to solidify their family's fortunes, a pact forged in the cold, calculating world of business. Yuta's father, a man of unyielding ambition and icy demeanor, caught wind of his son's dalliance with the bookseller's daughter. He saw it as a threat to their carefully constructed world, a crack in the facade of their flawless lineage. He confronted Yuta, his voice like shards of ice. He reminded him of his duty, his responsibility to their family's legacy. He scoffed at the idea of love, dismissing it as a frivolous indulgence. Yuta was raised to understand that duty and honor were the only currencies that mattered in their world. Love was a luxury they couldn't afford. Yuta found himself torn between the expectations of his family and the yearnings of his heart. He had always been the dutiful son, but his love for Shuns had awakened a rebellious spirit within him. Shun's world was a stark contrast to Yuta's. Her life was simple, her days filled with the comforting routines of the bookstore. She found solace in the written word, her small apartment above the shop a sanctuary filled with books. Yet, she yearned for more, her dreams as vast and boundless as the stories she cherished. Yuta's visits were a breath of fresh air, a glimpse into a world she could only imagine. He would arrive in his sleek car, a symbol of his privileged life, and she would greet him with a smile as radiant as the morning sun. His expensive clothes and sophisticated manners couldn't mask the genuine warmth in his eyes, the yearning in his heart that mirrored her own. She knew their worlds were different, yet she clung to the hope that their shared love could bridge the chasm between them. His gifts, though extravagant, were never flaunted. He treasured her simple gifts in return, tokens of her love and affection. Despite the gulf in their social standing, their love blossomed in the shared space of Whispering Pages, a testament to the fact that true connection transcends societal barriers. Section 5, Whispers of Disapproval, Echoes of Doubt. As Yuta's visits to Whispering Pages became more infrequent, a shadow of doubt crept into Shun's heart. She overheard whispers in the marketplace, snippets of conversations about Yuta's impending arranged marriage. Her heart ached with a pain as sharp as a shattered teacup. Yuta, torn between his love for Shuns and his duty to his family, withdrew further into himself. His once bright eyes now held a haunted look. He knew his parents would never approve of Shun's. Their world was one of alliances and mergers, where love was a mere footnote in the grand scheme of things. He tried to explain his predicament to Shun's, his words stumbling over his lips like stones tumbling down a hillside. But how could he ask her to understand a world so foreign to her own? How could he bear to see the light dim in her eyes, the eyes that held his world? Shun's, wise beyond her years, understood the impossible choice he faced. She loved him enough to let him go, to encourage him to fulfill his duty, even if it shattered her heart into a million pieces. Section 6. Stolen Moments, Underneath the Cherry Blossoms. Despite the looming threat of separation, Yuta and Shun's clung to each other with a desperate fervor. They met in secret, stealing moments of joy amidst the ancient temples and serene gardens of Kyoto. They knew their time together was fleeting, each stolen kiss a poignant reminder of what they were about to lose. They would often return to the philosopher's path, the place where their love had first taken root. The cherry blossoms, once a symbol of hope and new beginnings, now seemed to mirror the bittersweet nature of their love. The weight of their secret love pressed down on them, threatening to suffocate the joy out of their stolen moments. Yet, they held on, drawing strength from the depth of their connection. Yuta, inspired by Shun's unwavering belief in their love, found a new resolve growing within him. He wouldn't let his parents dictate the course of his life. He would fight for his right to happiness, even if it meant turning his back on the world he knew. Section 7. A Leap of Faith, a Desperate Hope. One cool evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city, Yuta met Shun's at their usual spot on the philosopher's path. He held her close, the scent of cherry blossoms mingling with her hair, a fragrance he would forever associate with her. "We can't go on like this, Shun's," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion. "I can't bear the thought of losing you." Shun's heart beat against his chest, a frantic rhythm echoing his own. "What can we do, Yuta?" she murmured, her voice laced with despair. "Your world, it will never accept me." Yuta cupped her face in his hands, his touch as familiar and comforting as a prayer. "Then we'll create our own world, Shun's," he said, his voice filled with a newfound determination. "A world where love conquers all." He told her his plan. They would run away together, far from the constraints of their families and traditions. They would start anew, building a life on the foundation of their love. Shun's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and hope swirling within their depths. Could they really leave everything behind? Could their love truly withstand the weight of societal expectations and the wrath of their families? Section 8. A Glimmer in the Distance. That night, under the watchful gaze of the moon, Yuta and Shun's made their escape. They left behind the only world they had ever known, taking with them nothing but the clothes on their backs and the love that burned bright in their hearts. They boarded a southbound train, their destination a small coastal town, where they hoped to disappear into the anonymity of the crowd. As the train rattled through the countryside, leaving the familiar landscape of Kyoto behind, a mix of emotions washed over them. Fear gnawed at the edges of their hope. Doubt whispered insidious suggestions in the quiet moments between their whispered promises. Would they be found? Would their love be strong enough to withstand the challenges that lay ahead? Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there was a glimmer of hope. They had each other, and in that moment, as the train sped towards an uncertain future, that was all that mattered.